Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to an impromptu stream. This was supposed to be Helldivers 2, but quite frankly, there's just nothing going on in the game right now. Everything that's in there is pretty much just grinding and kind of repetition, boring stuff. And I told my audience, hey, listen, we can do whatever we want. And people kind of in the chat were like, nah, let's just do a chill stream. So I said I'll go back to Helldivers 2 in the future if and when there's new content, like if there's a new race that's added, if there's new challenge modes and stuff. But right now, it's just, there's nothing going on. So we're just going to hang out tonight and just chat and see what people want to talk about, okay? So thank you guys in advance. Already we had people contribute, even though I didn't even do anything, and I appreciate that, obviously. We're just going to hang out for a couple hours, make a couple of videos, and see where the night takes us in discussion, okay? So here we go. If you would like to talk with me tonight, tag me in the chat at DSPGaming. If you're watching on demand, just sit back, relax, and listen to a couple hours of chatting, and that's what we're going to do tonight, all right? Cool. Slayer starts it off. He says, my new cats want to play. Oh, my new cat wants to play. He wants to play with my two other cats. They don't want to. The new cats keep sticking close to me a lot. So you have a new cat who's being integrated into the family. I see. I don't have any advice on that. I only have one cat. So I really don't know what it was like to have multiple cats and trying to integrate them together. I'm sure there's tons of, you know, knowledge-based stuff on the internet about that. I'm sure there's probably even entire YouTube channels based around cats and social life of cats and stuff. So I would say give it a look. But I wish you the best there, working with your cats. The Damn Man says, if I were one who wants to be a millionaire, I would use my call lifeline on you, because you know a little bit of everything. Good for you. I wouldn't answer, though. Yukai says, when do you plan to play Metroid Prime 2 to 3 if they don't release remasters? I don't know. I would like to play them. If you remember, I originally played the original Metroid Prime when they redid it for the Wii U, I think it was, right? I think it was the Wii U version. Or was it the Wii version? I mean, it was a really old version. It was a collection, I remember. And I played the first one, but it had the motion controls, and it was so hard to control because of the motion controls. So then I replayed it because they just redid it, what was it, last year? So I replayed it, and I actually really liked it with just the standard controller a lot better, actually. But outside of that, they never really announced that they're redoing 2 and 3. So would I ever go back and replay play 2 and 3 on the older console? I don't even know if you can. Is it possible to play those on the Switch? Like, you can't even do anything on Wii U anymore. So is it even possible to play those on the Switch? If not, then I guess the answer is no. I do own a Wii. I still have it. I haven't booted it in many years, but I have it right there, and I think it works with both GameCube and Wii games. And I can't, I mean, last time I checked many years ago, I could direct capture from it, but I don't know if I still could. Again, I don't even know if it still works. So I guess we'll see. But unless, I mean, obviously, I would hope that they will remake them, just like they did Metroid Prime. Hopefully, they'll do it for the modern console. I'd like to play it on there. How would my high school and college peers describe you from back then? My high school peers were basically a bunch of assholes. We were all assholes to each other. We razzed each other constantly, you know, and just hung out. We were kind of our own little clique. We didn't want to be in any other clique. We didn't want to be with the jocks. We didn't want to be with the brainiacs. We didn't want to be with the fucking the preppies or nothing. We just wanted to be our own group. They would probably say that I was a sarcastic asshole. And then as for college, I didn't have college peers. I commuted to college. So I didn't have any friends on campus. I just went to class and left. My peers at that time were my Street Fighter compatriots, who we would play and travel to tournaments and stuff together, playing games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and stuff like that. And they also would probably say that I was a funny asshole. Because I was a sarcastic dick, but people knew it wasn't serious who were friends with me. So, there you go. Jade says, I love watching the Street Fighter movie. I don't see yet that good or bad. Which Street Fighter movie? Are you talking about the live-action one starring Jean-Claude Van Damme? Are you talking about the animated one that was really good from the 90s? That's anime. It's Street Fighter 2, the movie. Are you talking about some of the other live-action ones that have come out? Because there's been so many versions of Street Fighter, you have to specify. Hantu Senpai says, I've been going through your Mega Man playthroughs. I noticed you never played Mega Man 9. Why? I did, but not on this channel. I believe Mega Man 9 I played on my original Dark Side Phil channel, which you can find on YouTube. I think I did the Dark Side Phil channel from late 2008 into early 2010, and I believe Mega Man 9 is on there. So that's where you can find it, because that's actually where that song that plays, the Proto Man song, the baddest of the pimpest of bad, fucking Proto Man. That's for my Mega Man 9 playthrough. So yeah, you can see that on the other channel. Parasolo, congrats, by the way, on getting your diamond crown. Some people now have hit their 3-year anniversaries being a member here on the channel and are getting diamond crowns slowly but surely. Parasolo has done it. He said, what's the worst fighting game you ever competed on? Competed on? Like, actually played competitively? Oh, ooh. The worst one I tried to play competitively. I would say, let's think about this. It would have to be either, let me think. I had it in my head and then I lost it. I guess, all right, I guess, honestly, the worst one that I actually tried to, like, be good in a tournament in was Capcom Fighting Jam. That was the era when, after Capcom vs. SNK 2 came out, and was a really good game, Capcom just made this decision. They didn't want to make fighting games anymore. So instead, they were focusing on, like, Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, and a bunch of other titles, and they just dropped Street Fighter. And everyone was like, what the hell just happened? Like, for the last decade, they were putting out so many fighting games, and now there's 0. And then all of a sudden, after like a 2 or 3 year hiatus, they put out Capcom Fighting Jam. This game was a joke. All they did is they took sprites from other fighting game franchises and crammed them into this hodgepodge game that played really bad. It was completely unbalanced. It wasn't fun to play. It was just a kind of a joke. And the only reason that anyone competed in it was actually because there was a qualifying tournament held in the United States, and if you placed well at this tournament, there was a team of people that were going to be able to enter a Japanese tournament for it. So it was an opportunity to go to Japan and actually compete in fighting games against the Japanese in a tournament setting, which is pretty neat. So I actually entered that tournament, and I tried really hard, and I lost to Justin Wong. Justin Wong beat me. He was using Karen. I want to say it was like Karen and Jeddah was his team, and I was using like a dinosaur and someone else. The dinosaur was from that weird Warzards game or whatever. That's what I mean. It was like a hodgepodge of games together to try to make a fighting game. But it was close, but he beat me. Yeah. Gage says game over. Oh, so you're talking about the live-action Street Fighter movie from the 90s. You should give it a watch. It's a funny movie. It's cheesy acting, okay? Not good acting. But if you like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's really funny in it with some of the things he does and says. And trying to reenact Street Fighter moves in a movie was absolutely ludicrous at the time. It's just a funny movie. It's so bad it's good. It's such a bad movie you can laugh at it and enjoy it if you don't take it seriously. So, did I ever go to the gym and was in really good shape? I never went to an actual gym because I always had weights in the house because my dad used to do exercise and weightlifting. So I would just go into my basement when I lived with my parents, and that's where I would work out. And there was a couple years there when I was in my early 20s where I used to work out regularly, and I was pretty buff, but I haven't done it regularly in quite some time. Let's see here. Heater says, hi, I found you from your LA Noir video. Just want to let you know it's one of my favorite games growing up, and I hope you make more. Yeah, the LA Noir playthrough is going live every other day over on DSP Throwback. So FYI, part 1 was yesterday. Tomorrow will be part 2 in the morning, and then they'll just continue like that, alternating between that and Fallout 3 every day over there. So yeah, definitely more coming. That's going to be ongoing because I think that playthrough is like between 10-15 hours long, maybe even 20. I can't remember. I know there's a couple DLCs that I think I did in there too. So dependent, you know, we'll see, but it should be a pretty fun ongoing playthrough. Good to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Now, thank you for subscribing, because I know you have to subscribe in order to talk in the chat, so that's nice of you. Is that my second run of LA Noir? No. That run is my original run, but now it's been remastered for a modern audience with upgraded visuals, audio, so that the music will not make it be blocked out or blurred on YouTube, basically, because the music has been kind of semi-removed. And it's in half-an-hour increments, proper thumbnails, proper titling. So it looks way better than the original playthrough, and it won't get blocked from music and stuff on YouTube like a lot of the previous playthrough did. That's why it says remaster, but it says right on it, 2011, right? It says right on it, 2011 PS3. So you can't mistake it for that future version where they upgraded it for PS4. Okay? Oh, let's see here. I received a $2 tip from Plargus. He says, I watched the podcast from earlier. I'm upset YouTube decided to remove your clicks. YouTube did not remove any clicks. I have no idea what you're talking about. I never said that. What can we do to support or bring awareness? Does this stinker algorithm play a role? Thanks. I have no idea what you're talking about. Remove my clicks? I don't even know what that means. What we were talking about on the podcast earlier today, I was talking about my history on YouTube because I get questioned from newcomers. Like, for example, someone who's recently started coming to the streams is Jordan. And he's been a nice guy. He's great in the chat. He actually contributes quite a bit. And he asked me, he's like, you know, I'm a newcomer, and it looks like you've been around forever. Like, this DSP Gaming channel has been around since 2010 and has, get this, over 400 million views. We looked it up. 474 million views, 65,000 videos on it. But why is it that I don't show up in YouTube search? Like, I just don't show up. Look how low my video views get, right? Like, what is going on with that? And I just basically did a segment explaining what's happened with YouTube over the years, is how they've consistently changed the algorithms to focus on different things. First, it was the amount of engagement in a video, meaning how long someone watches it. Then it was how many likes it gets, how many comments. Then it was, oh, well, we want this certain style of video. But then, oh, you have to have a thumbnail. You have to have this and that. So basically, all those trends I never cared about. And I never followed those trends. And so because of that, my channel got kicked out of YouTube search. And it's funny because I used to actually have certain videos that would always get tons of views. There were certain playthroughs where if you search for Spider-Man video game, I would be one of the top 5 videos that would come up every time on YouTube, and my video would get tens of thousands of views a month just because of that. Now, it's as if I don't exist and they have erased me from YouTube. You can't find my content. I used to get consistent views on my backlog that would actually make me lots of money. The backlog cannot be viewed on YouTube by search. It just doesn't show up, you know? Just because YouTube has changed things so many times over the years. So I'm lucky because I have a dedicated group of fans who actually like me and still watch my content to this day, and it's enough to support me. But I'm very lucky. There's a lot of YouTubers who are in the same situation as me who over the years have fallen out of prominence because they just don't fall into the algorithm anymore, and then they don't get any views, so they can't make a living anymore. Luckily for me, you guys are so supportive of me. I really appreciate that. I can keep doing this for a living, so thank you for that. But never did I say they deleted my clicks. I have no idea what that even means. Deleting clicks. But thanks for the tip. Peter, no, I have never played a Star Ocean game. It's familiar to me, like the name, but I've never played one. Whenever someone says Star Ocean, it reminds me of Star Tropics on the NES from back in the day. That I rented and played, and that was a good RPG. X Shooter did a super chat. Do you think we will get Metal Gear Solid 4 on PS5? Right now, I don't know if Konami's doing much of anything. It's really odd because they own all these IPs, and it just seems like they're kind of stagnant. I mean, the one we know that they're doing right now is Metal Gear Solid 3. But will they do 4 in the future? Will they do others? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you any clue of what they're thinking over there as a company. They're certainly not focusing on games that much, right? We got fingers crossed that the Silent Hill 2 remake's going to be good, right? And that this remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 will be good. We certainly don't want them making any more freaking the short message games like that. That one was something else. Yeesh. Oh, you can finally see it? Yeah. My Sonic and Fallout bobblehead. This Sonic statue was given me to a fan at a convention probably like 12 years ago. This is the Sonic 15th anniversary. Anniversary 2006. Commemorative figurine. Limited edition, number 529 of 2500. I don't know where it came from, if it came with a game or if it was just its own separate thing. Yeah, but a fan came to a convention and met me in like 2010, 2011, and just gave it to me. It was like, here you go, I want you to have this because I like your Sonic playthroughs. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. And now here it is, many, many years later. Still got it. Still, I'm using it for my setup now, which is kind of neat, right? Pretty nice of them. Jade says, I would love to see Sly 4. Sly 4. I played that when it was new, right? Yeah. I remember they previewed that at the E3 that I actually attended in, what was it, 2013? 2012? And then I played it later that year. I thought it was a good game, but I wasn't in love with it. I think that the classics were a little better. I see what they were going. You could tell it was a different dev team that had made it. But it was still pretty good. And then they just killed the franchise after that. Like, literally, they made Sly 4, and then they were like, nah, fuck it, and they never made another one. Hair of the Dog, thank you very much for a super chat. I appreciate that, Hair of the Dog. How are you doing tonight? Peter says, I like your game over poster. You mean the light? Yeah, I like it too. These are cool. They look good on camera. Next month, I got to bring back my Pac-Man Ghost. I haven't had my Pac-Man Ghost for months now because basically I kept doing setups where it wouldn't fit. And now next month, I definitely want to put something here that the Pac-Man Ghost will fit because I want to have the Pac-Man Ghost. So I think I need to do the shorter art. Like maybe I'll do the Mario, Super Mario Brothers 1 art, the dungeon, Bowser's Castle art. And then I think I can fit the ghost lamp above it. I miss it. We haven't had it in many months. We kept doing game over and over. Yorichi said, what are your summer plans? Like a return of an RPG or a Rageathon? You know, what we got to do is we got to see what's going on because right now, right there, that first 1 to 2 weeks of June, we've got a ton of announcements. You got Summer Game Fest, an Xbox event, and a Sony event, and supposedly even a Nintendo event. And they're going to drop, like, all the information about the new games coming out for the rest of the year. So until we actually know exactly what it is, right, we can't answer, right? We just can't. I don't know what's going to happen this summer. What games are coming out? When I look at the game release schedule, it's like empty. Oh, the summer, there's 0 games. Yeah, right. I don't believe that. I know there's going to be games. I just don't know what, right? So what I would say is let's play it by ear. Right now, the guarantees are that Street Fighter 6 is going to have a big reinvigoration with the Akuma update and this rebalance patch on Wednesday. So that's going to stay in my schedule, okay? But outside of that, I really don't know. We're going to keep playing Fallout 4, but how long of a playthrough will it be? Will people want DLCs or just play the base game? I don't know. We're doing Shadow of the Erd Tree in late June when it comes out, but outside of that, what's after that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't know. I can't answer that question because we don't even know what's coming out this summer yet. Could it be that we have time and I decide that, hey, let's do a downtime thing, right? Let's actually do like a downtime RPG. Let's bring back Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or let's do this, or let's do that. I really don't want to promise anything yet. Let's enjoy the rest of May. Let's enjoy June for the schedule we have. And then once we get all that information in early June about all these games coming out, then we could start to make determinations, okay? There's really no rush to make a big set schedule either, right? Wow. A ton of contributions just came in. Hold on a second here. So we've got Chris the Gamer, who did a $10 super chat and says, I love you. I love your videos. I hope you and everyone has a good day. Thank you, Chris the Gamer. I appreciate that. Nice of you to say. Gamer Stevie did a $10 super chat and says his old GTA playthroughs and Dark Souls videos are really cool and funny. Say hi to my bro Chris. All right, well, there you go. Thank you, Gamer Stevie. And then Game Master did a super chat and says skipping Paper Mario. For now, yes. For now, I don't see time in my schedule to do an RPG like that. I just don't. Would I like to do it? Yes, I would like to do Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake, but I just don't foresee it working right now. So let's see what happens, right? And go from there. I received a $2 tip. I would love to see you go back to play the Stanley Parable. The upgraded Ultra Deluxe version has over 30 new endings. Makes it feel like a new game. It's totally worth a quick playthrough. I remember playing it when it was new. Everyone wanted me to play it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I remember I did some of the silly choices in the game. Like, I just wouldn't listen to the dude because I was being a jerk to him. Maybe someday, but there doesn't seem to be much demand for it. Like, no one really asked for it when the new one came out, so. How wealthy was I at my peak? Not sure how much YouTube paid back then. I think, like, I can't remember annually. I remember there was 1 month, I shit you not. Okay, here's all I'm going to say. This is the one thing I'll say about it. And this was ridiculously long ago. This was at least, like, 12, 13 years ago. Okay? And, that's how long ago. We're talking, like, maybe that first year when I became a YouTuber and I monetized my videos. There was a month, okay, that I made so much money that Machinima had to send me 3 separate payments via PayPal because PayPal has limitations on how much money you can send in an individual payment. Okay? So I made a certain amount of money and they had to split it It was like, here's payment 1, here's payment 2, here's payment 3. And I'm looking at my phone as it's buzzing to tell me I'm receiving these deposits. I'm like, what the fuck? This is insane. How is this sustainable? Right? And the truth was, it wasn't. It never was going to be sustainable. But it was just insane. Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, I never expected to make that much money, especially those early days. You know, keep in mind, that was before direct capture, before live streaming. It was just an asshole pointing a camera at his TV and just uploading raw videos constantly. And I was rolling in that much money every month. It was wild. I literally went from being in massive debt from my previous life before being a YouTuber to within a year to 2 years paying off all of my previous life's debt and basically being completely good and square to the point where, like, wow, now I don't even know what to do with this money. Pretty wild. Toasty Ghost has done a super chat. If I remember correctly, you did a full playthrough of Witcher 3. Would you, hold on, would you say that making Witcher 4 makes sense since the ending of 3 seemed final? Well, here's the thing. Number one, you say the ending of 3 seems final, yet they did DLCs that weren't even related to the ending. It was just like different storylines, right? So you could always do that, have different unrelated storylines to the plot of what was Witcher 3's plot, correct? In addition, isn't it being made by a different group or something like that? I think, right? It's not being made by the same team, I thought. Like, I thought that team said they were done, and so it's a different group over at CD Projekt Red making 4. I don't know. I'm not sure on that. I could be completely wrong. It's been a long time since we've talked Witcher stuff, so I'm out of the loop. So anyway, yeah, like Witcher 4, does it make sense? I think it does. I think it makes sense. It's been a long time since Witcher 3. It's not like, oh, they rushed out a sequel that's a cheap one or anything like that. What I hope is that it ends up feeling like Witcher 4. Now, oh, like when Halo switched hands from Bungie to 343 and it felt like a completely different game. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that it ends up being, you know, the same style and same everything. Astronaut says, thoughts on Nintendo releasing Switch 2 as a whole new gimmick? Will you buy it if it's a Switch 2 with updated graphics only? I want a console with updated graphics. That's what I want. I don't care about their gimmicks. I literally don't use any of the gimmicks of the Switch. Zero. I don't take advantage of it being portable. I don't use the fucking motion controls. I use none of it. I just use it as a standard game console. I just want a standard game console that's powerful and good. That's it. That's all I care about. Is Machinima better than AdSense? Nemesis T-Type, I don't think you understand the nature of what you're asking. Machinima was a partnership network, an MCN, multi-channel network, okay? That network would put you under their umbrella via a contract, and essentially what that contract did was protected you from things such as content ID matching, frivolous copyright claims, and the like. Machinima would say, we're taking responsibility for this YouTube channel, all right? Because they took responsibility for your channel, you were able to then monetize your videos. The ad revenue would go to Machinima, and they would give you a cut of the ad revenue based on the views you received on those monetized videos, okay? AdSense essentially is you just get ads on your videos by yourself. But the reason that works is because now that's available. Back then, we're talking 2011, 2012, 2013. You could not just monetize gameplay videos on YouTube. You weren't allowed. You had to be assigned with an MCN network to actually get ads on your videos. But that were gameplay, that is. If you were like a vlogger or whatever, then you were fine. But anything that had something that could maybe be copywritten content, you had to have the backing of an MCN to monetize it. So that's why everyone signed up with MCNs back then. Everyone wanted to monetize gameplay. It was the only way to do it. So technically, are MCNs better than AdSense? Yes and no. They're better because you were able to monetize gameplay, but you were paying a cut of your ad revenue to the company, to the partner network. So yeah, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, but it was the only way to make money with gameplay. You know, when that changed many years later, you were able to just monetize your own stuff. Everyone did. Everyone moved over, but it took a lot of time for people to get out of that mindset that I need an MCN. I need an MCN. You really don't. In reality, did Machinima help me a few times? Sometimes with copyright strikes, they would speak directly to YouTube on guidance on what to do. Not to say the guidance really helped. And I would argue that there were a few times with, you know, they just would get me some free games. They got me into E3 one year as part of their group. There was a few benefits, not a ton. Not a ton. Bigger YouTubers, like the ginormous ones who were under Machinima, definitely got more than I did. Like, they probably got more advantageous payment for ads and probably had, like, better, like, flat rate contracts. Some of them, I'm sure. I never had anything like that. Mine was always just based on performance. But, you know, it was the only way to do anything. You had to bite the bullet. You had to be with the MCN or you could not monetize videos back. You know? I received another tip. I got a $2 tip. It says they need to make another choose your own adventure game like Dishonored. That was a masterpiece. Games these days are low quality. Well, Dishonored, I liked it. I didn't like the DLC of the second one, but I thought Dishonored 1 and 2 were fine games, and then they just said they weren't going to make anymore. Then they went ahead and made Deathloop, which is literally Dishonored with a different plot that's not as good, right? And then they just completely tanked and made Redfall, and that was the end of that. So, I don't think we'll be seeing a game like that soon, but at the same time, perhaps someone will take up the reins and make a game like that in the future, right? Excuse me. The Blimps asked, what was your experience during the adpocalypse? Did you notice it immediately? I noticed it overnight. When the adpocalypse hit, it was February 2017, and I was still a full-time YouTuber to the point where all I really cared about was the on-demand uploads. Now, did I stream every day? Yes, I did. But I didn't do this. What I'm doing literally right now, I never did. This didn't exist. It was just, Bill plays a game. Oh, son of a bitch. That sucks. Oh, shit. Oh, wow, look at that. Whoa, this boss, look at that. That was it. That was me playing games. It was me focused on the game, commenting on the game. That was it. Zero chat interaction, nothing like what we do today at all. Okay? So I was reliant on the ad revenue. And when that ad revenue plummeted, that was it. I was not monetizing my streams. I didn't have any paid sponsorships. I didn't have any paid memberships or subscriptions. I wasn't accepting bits or super chats. None of that. It was just me actually just streaming for fun as fan service to the viewers. There was no profit to be made on those live streams. So, when the adpocalypse hit, no exaggeration, let's say this is my full ad revenue. It went from this to this, so it got halved. And that's what prompted me to leave Machinima. Because Machinima had no idea what the hell was going on, and they acted incredibly unprofessionally to me. They were ignoring my requests for help. And I was like, I don't want to stay with you if you're going to be unprofessional and stupid about it. And then they blew me off for like 2 weeks. I was like, well, screw this. I don't want to work with you. And then we cut the contract. They said, well, you know, we're going to sever your contract. I was like, I already told you I don't want to work with you if you're going to be like that. So good. You know? Anyway. So, yeah, with that adpocalypse, it literally halved my income. And so what I had to do was start becoming an interactive live streamer. I had to go enable the crowdfunding options on my streaming services, right? And there you go. So, let's see here. Let's see here. Someone tried to tip and it got frozen. So, I'm sorry. Someone tried to tip me $1 and for some reason your transaction was suspended and is being reviewed by PayPal. Reason likely, no exaggeration, is probably wording. All right? Because what some people have found out is if you use specific words in a tip, PayPal will flag your tip for potential bad stuff like crime or even terrorism. There was this one time that this guy was tipping under a joke name like the country of Iran, and then PayPal just froze all their tips endlessly because they kept putting the country of Iran into the body of the tip. So if you're going to tip me, be careful about what you word in there. You got to be careful. You don't put anything in there that they're going to flag as something like that. Sorry, I literally cannot see the tip. I can't see the person. I can't see the message. All I get told is there's a tip for $1 pending and will be, you know, reviewed and cleared later. So sorry about that. Mr. Game Master did a super chat. He says they're also making a full-blown Witcher 1 remake. Oh, are they really? A Witcher 1? I never played Witcher 1. I don't even know much about it. There we go. Yeah, I don't know much about it. Rex420 Red, what are you talking about? He says, what's going on with the Waffins guy? What is going on with the Waffins guy? How would I know? I don't know what you're talking about. Waffins, the guy who's recently been on streams been active in the chat, is positive, and is contributing to streams. What about him? What about him? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. The Blimp says, I gotta say I like it. It's pretty cool that we're able to interact with you on the level, and that we get to have proper input into what we like to get out of the streams. There you go. Yeah, I like that. And again, can you imagine if I was trying to do this and have a stream like this on Twitch, number one, never would work. On Twitch, it just doesn't work at all. Or if we had thousands of viewers on stream and people were trying to all talk at once, like how would I even have a discussion with you guys, right? It wouldn't even be possible. So I'm very happy that we're able to have these nice chill streams, okay? Radical Jaw says, can some of the playthroughs on the Indie Marathon join the schedule? Yes, perhaps. And that's one of the major reasons why I do marathons. And these Indie Marathons always used to turn into maybe 1 or 2 games that I played I liked a lot, and you guys would ask for me to keep playing it, and then it would actually become a playthrough. So if you end up liking some of these games in the Indie Marathon, yes, I would consider doing full playthroughs. Notably, I can tell you right now, there is demand for me to play Hades 2. Like, it's brand new. It's in the early access stages. It's not complete yet, but people are saying that what's available is very lengthy and fun and not half complete, but pretty much it feels like a good game as it is. It just doesn't have an ending yet, right? I think they're saying like the game has 10 runs you have to beat, and the first 5 runs are available or something like that. So, yeah, I feel like I feel like that might be one that definitely, if people like it during the marathon, I would play fully. I don't know how long the playthrough would be, but, I mean, Hades 1 was pretty good. Hades 1 was, what, like 20, 30 hours? I'm actually curious. Let's find out. How long was Hades 1? Because they're saying this Hades 2 is actually longer right now than Hades 1 was. "38 parts. Hades 1 was 38 parts. Holy moly. So yeah, that was a pretty lengthy playthrough. And so if Hades 2 is that long, we could have another good one, right? Another good one on our hands. We'll have to see. It looks like another tip has been frozen. There's another $1 tip that came through. I can't tell if it's the same person or not, but a second $1 tip just got frozen. So whoever this is trying to tip me $1, your tips are all getting frozen, likely because of your wording. So be careful. Okay. What was the plot of Hades? You were supposed to be like the son of Satan. Of course, he's not called Satan, you know, but you're the son of the Lord of the Underworld. And there's all these subplots with other gods and things. And your mother is like, you know, a character who's been exiled from the underworld, but you have to fight through these levels of combat. It's a roguelike, so you're fighting through, getting new abilities, getting new weapons, playing different styles to beat bosses and grind and level up even further each run. And then eventually, after enough runs, you get to meet your mother, but then she tells you the truth of what's really going on, and then the plot continues, and then eventually you actually go on to fight your dad, and then you have to do multiple runs of that. It's pretty crazy. It's for a roguelike, it's really interesting and very fun. And I got really, really hooked on that game and continued to play. I never thought I would have played it. And then I started playing. I was like, dude, this is so good. And I got hooked on it that summer. What was it, like 2-3 years ago? I think it was around 3 years ago now, wasn't it? I think it was. That was a really good summertime playthrough. So maybe Hades 2 will be another good summertime playthrough for, right? Okay. All right. A $1 tip has come through. This one is from Mateo. Which ending do you think is the best? NCR, Legion, House, or Yes Man? I don't think any of them are particularly meant to be the best because they're all imperfect. With NCR, right, you know that they're going to be very overbearing and militaristic. With the Legion, you know that they're going to be cutthroat, like you know, brutalist killers. With Mr. House, you know he's 100% about personal interest, business, corporate stuff, and doesn't really care about the people of the Wasteland. And with Yes Man, that's the ultimate wild card because you think you're reprogramming these robots in a way that will benefit the people, but there's no guarantee. What if Yes Man just decides to do whatever he wants and now you have no way to control him, right? So none of them are good. And that's the funny thing is that that's the cool thing about Fallout New Vegas is that literally none of the endings are canon good. They're all meant to be imperfect based on your own personal perspective, essentially. And then you can choose whichever one you think is best. I honestly don't like any of them. I don't think that anyone can be trusted in that situation. So I guess you have to weigh and balance what's the lesser of 4 evils, right? And it'll be interesting, obviously, to see with the Fallout TV show with Season 2, which apparently will take place in New Vegas after the events of New Vegas. We're going to get to see what the canon ending was. At the very least, what apparently you see in the credits is that there's a bunch of destroyed robots, military, and all kinds of stuff in New Vegas. So maybe there was an all-out war of like NCR, Legion, and the robots all fighting each other, and you just don't know who won. But the thing is, if the villain of Season 1 of Fallout is headed towards New Vegas, right? There's got to be a reason. He's not just running there for no reason. So maybe possibly Mr. House is still there. So which means he didn't die, which means no one killed him. So that means NCR didn't win. That means Legion didn't win. That means Yes Man didn't win, because in Yes Man's ending, he tells you to kill Mr. House. Remember? So who won? Did Mr. House win? Maybe Mr. House won, but it was such a crazy battle that all the resources were destroyed. So all that's left in New Vegas is just you know, it's a big smoldering wreck of the battle. And so Mr. House remains underground in his bunker being tended by robots, and that's it. Like, he can't take over because everything was destroyed. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out in Season 2. Okay. Sith, if you keep getting videos about Keffals and Mudahar flooding your YouTube stream, you're watching the wrong kind of videos for it to be recommending that shit. That's for sure. Red420 Red, excuse me, Rex420 Red says, as an older guy like yourself, I'm actually approaching my 50s and I'm finding it harder to stay sharp on games. Have you noticed skill drop off, or are you feeling aches? Let me put it this way. I'm actually feeling like right now, and this is not exaggerating, I'm actually better at fighting games than I probably ever have been. When I was good at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo in the mid-2000s and I was a high-level competitive player, the skill level wasn't anywhere near where it is now. It just wasn't. Everyone was playing legacy games. You know what I'm saying? There was no new competition. You didn't have to learn new tech or anything. So for me, you know, at that point, yes, I played insanely high level and it was really good stuff. But the stuff I have to do to play Street Fighter 6 is way higher level tech than I was doing playing Super Turbo, for sure. You know, for me, it's just years and years of experience and character knowledge that would allow me to play Super Turbo at a high level. But right now, I'm playing fighting games higher level than I ever have. I never played Tekken as good as I just did a couple months ago there with Yoshimitsu. I never played Tekken at that level at all. So that's something completely new to me, okay? Playing these Elden Ring and FromSoft games and Souls-like games like I just Another Crab's Treasure or Lies of P. That's difficult shit that I'm doing. I never did that when I'm in my youth. Never. Literally. But I can tell you this. My right hand is going to get carpal tunnel. It already is. Like right now, it's actually not bad because I stretched it this morning. But I woke up this morning and I just went like this. And I had insane tenseness, pain in all of my right hand here. And I had to do a stretch session where you just basically go like this. And you just keep doing it for a while and stretching the muscles out and everything. And then it feels a little better. But I can tell you right now, I'm going to get carpal tunnel in this hand. There's nothing I can do about it. As I get older, it's funny. I'm at a higher skill level now than I've ever been in my life at 42 in video games. But as I get older, it's going to be more this than this. And I'm probably going to have to cut back on games and challenging games and start doing other stuff. Like I said, that's why I want to expand into other kinds of content eventually. So. Luigi says, any playthroughs you regret starting or never finished playing? Nothing really comes to mind. Like, most of the games this year that I quit, honestly, they were for good reason. Like, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we got to the second major area, open world, and it was like so samey to the first. We were like, oh, is this what the whole game is? And I honestly just didn't, even the audience didn't care about it. No one wanted to see me play another 80 to 100 hour game. And that's what the game is. It's an 80 to 100 hour experience. It's like too long, right? Dragon's Dogma 2, honestly, kind of uninspired. Didn't really seem to improve much from the original game and almost felt like a reboot of the original game. I'm not sad that I quit that one. You know, Sea of Stars, I'm not quitting. I'm definitely going to play that again at some point. For sure. Like, I want to get back into it because that was a really good game. But ultimately, any games that I've put on suspend or hold and never finished, usually there's a good reason for it. I'm not one of these streamers who just casually decides arbitrarily, I'm just gonna drop this game now, not play it, and stuff like that, you know? Let's see. I received a $1 tip from Mateo. That game has some of the best written Fallout characters. Caesar, House, Joshua Graham, Ulysses, Boone, and more. Which Fallout characters are some of your favorites? And PayPal is blocking the name of this Fallout game. New Vegas? PayPal is blocking the phrase New Vegas. Could it be... I mean, this is really a shot in the dark. Could it be the word Vegas that PayPal thinks that you're trying to gamble? I know that sounds incredibly stupid because it really, really is. But could it be that's what it is? It thinks you're trying to gamble with a PayPal tip, so it blocks it? Yikes. So who are the best characters in Fallout? Oh, man. Again, I'd have to really think hard. What I'm saying is right now I'm playing Fallout 4. I haven't played Fallout in a long time. Like, probably New Vegas is the one that comes to mind the most. But I haven't played Fallout 3 in so long. I can't answer that. I don't really remember the characters of Fallout 3 that well, you know? But as we said, like, I think I'll have a better answer once I finally finish Fallout 4, which is probably the one I remember the least because I only played it the once ever. But I think, as you know, some of my favorite followers, like Boone, literally was the one that blew me away. He was sniping everything in every situation and killing it so easily. And I was like, wow, this is making the game dramatically easier for me. This would be so tough without a companion, right? So probably Boone was the one that was the coolest and most amazing at the time, but I don't remember specifically enough. So, oh, my nose. Rex420 Red says, is the Mike Clum documentary completely off the table now? I still want the world to see how we do. Well, first of all, it has nothing to do with you. The documentary is to do with me, not with you. So I don't know what you're talking about. I have not spoken to Mike Clum in months. I have no idea what the man is up to. I have no idea what's going on with him. I don't even know. Are there any updates on any of his documentaries or works right now? The last that we discussed him and I knew anything about him, he was working on that EDP documentary. And as I told you, I really have a problem being involved with someone who is doing a documentary on someone like that, who all but has been caught out doing pretty horrendous things and just wasn't able to be arrested for them because of the way that they were caught out, i.e. on YouTube rather than through the law enforcement. So for me, like, what I really want, just think about this. If the first Mike Clum documentary was Boogie, if the second Mike Clum documentary is EDP, and then the third Mike Clum documentary is Dark Side Phil, do you like that association? Do you like that order of association? I certainly don't, right? Like, let me put it this way. If Mike Clum went ahead and did a documentary on someone completely different that wasn't some insanely negative figure on the internet, and it was actually a really good documentary that wasn't this kind of content, and then said, hey, would you like to do the documentary again? Maybe then I would, you know, be more interested. I am not going to be in that line. There's no way you're putting me number 3 in that line. No fucking way. That's insanity. I would literally have to have zero self-awareness in my life to think that that would be a good idea. Nathan Smith, thank you for a super chat. He says, do you prefer horror games where you hide from enemies or you like fighting? I like fighting. There's nothing wrong with the stealth, and there's nothing wrong with the games where you do hide, but I do enjoy fighting more. You know why? Because I grew up with Resident Evil. Resident Evil was my original survival horror game franchise. It's the one that comes to mind. If you were to ask me what survival horror, first thing that pops into my head, Resident Evil. So, yeah, I like fighting. Now, I don't want to be overpowered. I don't want to be some super powered badass fighting every enemy and just destroying everything around me, because then it's not very scary, right? But I definitely want a game where I can at least do something to put up a fight, right? I like boss fights too, right? Mr. Slothington says, yeah, what the heck? Why not just do a documentary on a serial killer in there too? Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to do Boogie, EDP, Charles Manson, Bill Cosby, Darkside Phil. That sounds like a good lineup, doesn't it? At the Gamer says, thoughts on a 6-man X-Men arcade cabinet? What do you mean? Thoughts? I've played on a 6-man arcade cabinet of X-Men. It's the 3-screener, where it's the super wide screen and 2 players in the middle, 2 players on the left screen, 2 players on the right. And it's pretty cool. It's cool. And the speakers on that thing were very loud. So any arcade that had it, whenever you're doing the special abilities, you would hear all these explosions, or, you know, Colossus going, oh, or, you know, the big explosion, like the I-beams would go, you hear it everywhere in the arcade, which is really neat. It was one of the best looking arcade games at the time as well, because it had that like 1970s, early 80s X-Men comic book art style. But, you know, you got to understand, why were there not more games like that? Can you imagine the cost? That's a 1-game arcade cabinet. What else are you ever going to put on that cabinet? Nothing. No other game is compatible with that 6-controller, 3-screen setup. So because of that, you're spending an insane amount of money on this arcade game, and you got to hope it makes its money back. I would think people who originally bought it, it probably did. But then after a while, it becomes an eyesore, because who's playing the early 90s X-Men arcade game anymore, right? Especially as X-Men, you know, becomes less prominent and things like that. And then you can't turn it into anything else. Like, a lot of arcade owners liked the fact that certain cabinets were more universal, so that you could convert it into other games. If you had Street Fighter, you could eventually convert that Street Fighter cabinet into other future Street Fighter games, or you could even put a different fighting game in there, or hell, just take out the control panel, put another one in there. You could still use that cabinet for other games. But at X-Men, you're just stuck as that being X-Men. It'll never change. You can't put another game in there. So I definitely understand why arcade owners probably gravitated away. I've only saw, my arcade had it, but it was the 4-player version. So it was just the one big screen, and it was 2 here at an angle and 2 here at an angle. So 4 players would be standing kind of crooked to the screen, and they'd all be playing at once. But I only saw the 6-player one at, like, amusement parks. I would have it, because, you know, a lot of kids at amusement park, they don't know each other, but they want to play a game. They all jump on the X-Men game together. Or like big places that would do like birthday parties and shit like that. They would have that kind of stuff. Like Chuck E. Cheese would have the 6-player X-Men game. But a standard arcade usually wouldn't have it. It was too much of an investment. Mateo did a super chat. Joshua Graham and Ulysses are the best characters, he says. Well, they're are those for the DLCs? I think they are, right? Those are both of the DLC characters. Thank you, Mateo, for the super chat. Well, Rex, here's the thing, Rex. If you're going to compliment me, that's one thing. Great. But please don't insult others while you do it. You don't have to say, like, here's what he said. He compliments me, but then he insults Boogie. You don't have to do that. You could just compliment me and not have to insult somebody else. That's fucked up. Don't do that. I don't, you know, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't like that flying on my streams, all right? So basically, he insults Boogie, which I'm not going to read. Then he says, you're a smart, neat guy who can be a little hot-headed at times, but you stand tall amongst unfair stuff, and that's to be admired. I'm really trying hard to do better, right? Can we all agree that in the last year, things have been a lot better? I would say since Street Fighter 6 came out until now, I've done my absolute best way to stay out of drama, and I think I have. I've dodged every bullet. Everyone trying to get me into shit. Oh, Turkey Tom wants to interview you. Oh, maybe I'll do it. No, fuck that. Oh, I'm gonna get a documentary. Oh, no. I'm like, whoa, there's things flying at me, and I'm like, whoa, and I'm dodging them all. I think it's working. I do. I think that we've had a much better year in the last year, avoiding the nonsense, right? I just want to be here. I just want to hang out with you guys. I just want to have fun, and I want to make content for people who care about me. And that's it. That's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. I don't want drama. I don't want popularity. I just want to be here and make a living doing fun stuff with you, period. So if that's what we do, that's what we do. And thank God, if I avoid everything else around me, that's great, right? Here you go. Wobble says, what I think about doing my podcast in audio-only format. There is my podcast in audio-only format. It's YouTube Music. YouTube Music is an app that's separate from YouTube itself, and you can subscribe to this podcast. Well, this isn't the podcast. This is just a random night stream, but you can subscribe to the podcast on there, and it is delivered to you daily, just like any other podcast, visual or audio. You could get it all there, okay? And you get that if you get YouTube Premium. All of YouTube Music is completely free. I strongly recommend, if you're someone who actively uses YouTube all the time and you watch a ton of videos on here and a ton of content, get YouTube Premium. Get it. You will benefit from it immensely. It will make YouTube so much better for you. You won't have to deal with the insane, awful ads. You'll just be able to relax and have a good time on YouTube without intrusive bullshit. And then you get access to cool things like the YouTube Music app that then you can get my stuff delivered to you every day. So that's what I recommend. Do I plan on playing the Until Dawn remake? I have no idea. Until Dawn came out in 2015. I still remember, right? It was 2015. And I remember the playthrough being very epic. And I still remember the game. So I don't really know if I were to replay it now, how many people would really care. Only because it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's never going to change. Like, right now, if you were to ask me, would you go back and do the Dark Pictures anthology again? Probably not. I mean, they're the same games. They didn't change in the last 4 or 5 years. So I probably wouldn't go replay them. Same thing with Until Dawn. Like, that's a playthrough that stands alone as a really epic one that I did 9 years ago. And I don't think that redoing that game would make it any better. So I don't know. Really, it depends on viewership. You guys want it? You guys ask for it? You commit that you'll be there? Then maybe I'll do it. But I don't know how much more we'll get out of it. That's right. Matt even just brought up, he says it was cool that originally, as soon as I beat Until Dawn, I went back and I did a second run and I did the alternate choices to try to change the outcome. So I not only did I play it once, I kind of played it a second time to get the best outcome, so there's not much more left to do in it, right? What's my most anticipated game for the remainder of the year? There is none. We don't have release dates for any games to say that. But, I mean, Shadow of the Erdtree, of course, is the one coming up that we have a release date I'm excited for, but I have no idea if that's going to be as good as anything else. We don't know. We have to wait for Summer Game Fest, really, and or those other press conferences to make statements like that. That's true. Ad the Gamer says, your narrative playthroughs are awesome, but unfortunately people have the attention span of a squirrel. It used to be like that back in the day. When the Telltale games were starting to get popular with Walking Dead, those are some of my biggest, most popular playthroughs. I would get upwards of 10,000 or more views on every part of the playthrough. And that wasn't even 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. When I did a playthrough, typically the first 5 parts would get like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 views, and then it would taper off, and then every other part would be like maybe 1,000-2,000 views. It would be lucky if I had a playthrough where I get 5,000 views a part. That'd be crazy. And that's back then. We're talking over a decade ago. But when I did the narrative-based stuff, every single part would actually get great views. And I knew that people liked those narrative-based playthroughs because of it a lot more. But the games fell out of prominence, and now, you're right. Now it seems like, what are the playthroughs that get the most viewership for me? Difficult games. Like, I feel the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC will likely do really well because you'll have people coming for every part to see me suffer with how hard it's going to be. Big prominent new releases, at least for the first maybe 10 parts. And then after that, it trails off, you know? So, you know, it's hard to say. Horror games, especially hot new horror games, like big Resident Evil releases, stuff like that, that usually does really well for me. So I'm curious with this Silent Hill 2 remake, how's that going to do? Will people actually come to watch Phil play a new take on a classic horror game that was one of my favorites and one of a lot of people's favorite playthroughs of mine from over the years? Maybe. We'll see. Let's see here. The Gamer says The Expanse is great, but only 4 hours long compared to Walking Dead, which was 6 or 7. Wow. It's a pretty short game then. I plan on playing the System Shock remake. I'm interested in it. But I'll be honest, I was talking about it, and as I was showing interest in it, I didn't see that interest from the audience. Like, I think the System Shock remake would be very interesting because it's the predecessor to BioShock. It's like the game that came before, correct? But I was like, yeah, I'm gung-ho to do it. And as I started talking about that, basically no one seemed to be very interested in it. So I said, well, I'll stop mentioning it and see what happens. And you haven't noticed, I stopped mentioning it. And no one's really said anything until right now when you brought it up. So if people want it, it's coming up. It comes out next week. I'd be interested in it. But, you know, right now, it's kind of a maybe. Jordan did a super chat, said, what happened to Helldivers 2? No one wanted it. I booted it up and we were all staring at it and kind of like wondering what the hell I was really going to do besides the same repetitive shit. So I decided against it, and now here we are an hour into a chill stream and we're having a good time. Excuse me. Hair of the Dog, thank you for a super chat. I appreciate that. Cool. All right, you know what we should do? We should split the part because we're going to probably go up another hour. So let's split the part. I'll probably stretch my legs, relax a bit, and we'll come back and do another hour of chill late night Q&A. Thanks, guys. I'll be back for the Hangout session in a sec.